Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. Well, this afternoon, the minority in Parliament, they are demanding solutions from President John Dramani Mahama for what they describe as the many issues confronting the Ghanaian people. President Mahama is expected to deliver his message on the state of the nation to Parliament tomorrow. The minorities say the president must offer full account for the cocoa price reduction and the ongoing complaints about fast depleting prepaid credit. Let's listen to the Member of Parliament for Akim Swedro, Kennedy Oseyako, and we'll be back to have a conversation here on The Pulse.
I see there a lot of despondency among the Ghanaian people, okay? You've recently heard about the cocoa head cut, which has affected over 1 million of cocoa farmers in the country. We are not only even talking about just the million, they have a lot of dependents, those who are students in school and all those things. These are very difficult moments for those Ghanaian farmers that they are losing money as a result of government decision to cut down the price, the producer price, okay? That is one thing. Recently, we also heard about people complaining about electricity. Okay, this was a decision that was taken by government just to increase the electricity tariff by some 28%, and we are now feeling the impact of it. So these are people who are complaining. The youth that were promised the employment are there still saying that they have not gotten the job that this government promised them. These are three key things. So if the president is coming here tomorrow, he should be bringing solutions as to how these matters are going to be dealt with.
Well, we'll be gauging the expectations of various stakeholders right here on The Pulse as we expect the president to deliver his State of the Nation address tomorrow. Of course, expectations from all quarters is what we're expecting this afternoon. Joining the conversation is Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, Samson Asaki Awigobit. I appreciate your time. Also joining us via Zoom is Clement Boateng. He's president of the Ghana Tourism Authority. Clement Boateng is actually the president of GUTA, I beg your pardon. And on the telephone as well is Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Haruna Mohammed. I appreciate your time, gentlemen. I'd like to start with Samson Asaki Awigobit. What are your expectations? The Importers and Exporters Association, as the president is set to deliver his first State of the Nation address tomorrow.
Well, thank you very much. I hope I can hear loud and clear. If yes, my very big good afternoon to your good self and my colleagues on the line there to discuss these national issues. From where I sit as the Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, I can tell you that business community are excellently satisfied with President Mahama 1 year in office and some 2 months now, that what he promised the business community, that he was going to be a business-minded president, who was going to continue to be engaging the business community, listen to the business community. If you want to know, one of the classic one was just last Sunday when the president assembled captains of industries and brought in some of his ministers and agency heads and to speak to him direct, to listen to what industry players has the complaints and ask them to address it adequately. And that is a listening president. President promised us in 2024, when he came to talk to me the maritime trade, he said when he became the president, he will make sure he would do tax rationalization in our port. As we speak, he promised that he will abolish COVID levy. COVID levy has been abolished. He will abolish e-levy, and you know, most of the importers pay duties and taxes through electronic means of, it wasn't just for Momo, and that was also another huge area that was a cost element for the business community. A COVID levy of 1%, if assuming you are paying a duty of 3 million Ghana cedis, 1% of it is a huge amount of money. These were all savings. Quite above all, the budget that was presented in 2024, you remember before the budget, there was a national dialogue to listen, to solicit informations and issues, what is matter, what is bothering the Ghanaian businesses before the budget was presented. And that's how we saw a correction of inflation. Inflation was one of the cardinal points that Ghanaian businesses, some had even in 2023, 2024, had closed down businesses and were relocating. Some had relocated to other neighboring countries. And I can tell you, we saw how from the month of April, the city came all the way from 13 cities that customs were using in calculating our duty to 10.2, all the way to August. We also saw a sharp reduction of the hard currency, the dollar. And as I speak with you now, we don't buy dollar at 13 cedis in this country. Remember that before President Mahama took over office, 7 January 2025, dollar to the cedi was hovering around 14 cedis. And that is, we thought that by now, the dollar could have got out of hand, maybe run into 25 Ghana cedis, inflation at 23. We were thinking that inflation would have run back to 28 to 30, but as we speak, inflation is at 3.5, sorry, 3.8. Dollar to the cedi is less than 12 cedis. COVID is gone, as I said. E-levy is gone, as I said. There's stability, there's predictability.
It appears that you're showering praises on this administration, but as an important exporter yourself, do you have even access to dollars when you go out to purchase?
I can tell you from the month of August 2025 that there were a shortage of dollar, and it was artificial shortage. People went to the Commercial Bank to be withdrawing from the counter more than 100,000. As by law established, we can only withdraw at the counter of a Commercial Bank only 10,000 or its equivalent. The Bank of Ghana at that time, when hearing our issues and made conducted an investigation, they realized that some customers who didn't like Ghana, who didn't want the government of the day to succeed, were withdrawing millions of dollars. So they put in measures in place, countermeasures in place, and also they realized that there were companies like Tap Pay and Co. who would collect the dollars. At the time, dollar was about 15 cedis in this country. That they brought in their fewer dollars, millions of Ghana cedis, kept in banks in Ghana here, then collect the hard currency as remittance, kept it in Europe, and asked the recipient to go to bank here and get the cedis. Bank of Ghana said, no, if you collect remittances, it must hit our account. Coupled with the gold board bringing in $10 billion as proceeds from gold export. Up to date, from the month of August, that we had that inexperience and that experience from September, October to date, as I speak with you, we have sustainable, predictable, accessible foreign currency in our commercial banks. If you put, there's no any importer have come to my attention apart from August 2025 to say that we kept our cedis in our bank, commercial banks for weeks, for days, and looking for foreign to transfer to pay our suppliers and not getting. I do not see that, and I'm happy that you said my senior comrade, GUTA president, the new president of Mr. Clement Boateng is on the line as well. He will confirm this. And so I can tell you, and as I speak, even this morning, myself, I want to change dollar. It's not up, it was 11.3 something, up to 12, left alone 30 cedis. Okay. So I can tell you, if you ask all economic indicators, I will tell the government has outperformed even more than if they promised. We, especially the business community. And of course, if the business community are okay, then there's a translation into prices of goods. And that is why 2025, January and December, many Ghanaians celebrated the Christmas, as you can see, including your good self.
And then let's look at efficiency at the ports. With this administration taking office, what challenges have you experienced?
I can tell you that 24 hours is rather working. We now clear our goods. Look, before, in the previous government, by 4:30 or by this time, you go to the by 3:15. By 4:30, you would have gone to MPA, Golden Jubilee. You want them to drop your cargo, and they tell you no, we cannot drop container at this time. You go to you go to shipping line to drop your empty container, they will say no. Today, there's no anybody who can tell you that if you bring a container, but even midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., they have to take it. Shipping lines are working. MPS is working. You can clear reefer containers at GPHA terminal at any time you wish. You go to Golden Jubilee, it's working 24 hours. And I can tell you, the only thing that we will ask is to ask for more security, more police in our street, more, maybe bring military out as you go to certain countries like Rwanda and Kenya, and in the night, there are soldiers on the street, there are soldiers in strategic areas like our market area that keep on burning. You don't know where that's coming from. That's what we are looking for. And I think that this IGP will definitely make sure that there will be more security. If you go to Philippines, if you go to Cambodia, they are operating 24 hours. What they do, the real police team cannot satisfy. So they get private security officers, they train them, arm them, and they are supported. You go to every shop, you go to every mall, you will see private security with arms, with the handcuffs, and you can see how their morale is high. And that is, they come to augment. So with this 24 authority now, in the law now, I think that is the only place that I will see that as we are clearing, we are carrying money. Sometimes you have to pay certain charges To some people, now you have to bring money to give to your transport driver, to take your trash, your cargo to your warehouse, to Kumasi, to anywhere. We need the security to be very robust. Not security that every minute they are stopping, but at least they can do random checks if they have big intelligence. But security that will be sure that no anything can untoward if you are working at the port in the night, if you are taking your cargo out in the night, if you are carrying money to even pay your laborers for working for you, nothing untoward will happen to you. That is what we are looking for. And I can tell you, up to date, the port rate, the rate at the port, some of them are using 10.2 as a local handling charges calculation. I can tell you that there's no anybody who would complain that at the port, this is my challenge.
And let me bring in Clement Boateng at this point in time. What is GUTA's assessment of this administration since they took office? Mr. Boateng, you have to unmute for us to hear clearly.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear now.
Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear, please.
Okay. Good afternoon to your cherished viewers, and thank you for having me. Yes, if I want to make an assessment of the His Excellency John Mahama administration for the past 1 year, two months now, I would say the situation has not been bad because if you look at all the microeconomic indices, they are all pointing to positive direction. If you look at where they took the exchange rate from and currently what we are having now, I think we can all attest to the fact that it is in the best interest of the business community. If you look at where inflation is, it's also not bad, currently at 3.8%. And then if you also want to talk about policy rate, also, if you look at where they took it from 27% to the current rate of 15.5%, I think to a large extent, the government has performed well, and it is good for the business community.
And then the business community, we know, have been criticized by consumers for failing to pass over the gains substantively to them.
Hello?
Can you hear me, Mr. Boateng? Mr. Boateng, I'm hoping you can hear me.
Come back again. I didn't hear the question.
I'm saying that you appear to be very excited about this administration's work. You say that the gains are good, but you've been criticized, especially the business community. You've been criticized by consumers for failing to pass over the gains substantively to us.
That is not the case, and that is not true. Anytime I get this opportunity, I rebut, this assertion that as far as I'm concerned, and looking at where I sit as the president of GUTA, I can tell you that prices of goods have come down. I had the opportunity, to tour the Makola market on the 23rd of December with the trade minister, and she attested to the fact that prices has really come down. I was also with her when she toured the Abosokai market. She also attested to the fact that prices have come down. What I always tell consumers is that when they go to shop, they shouldn't limit themselves to one shop. At least they should ask prices in about 2-3 shops, and definitely they will find one where the prices are moderate, for them to be able to purchase. There are some people who have made up their mind that irrespective of whatever situation that we find ourselves, they will not reduce their prices. And I was on your program, I think about 3 weeks ago with PM. Yes, the PM Express. I was on PM Express, and I made it clear that the business that we are doing, thrives on turnovers, and you cannot sit behind your words and make your prices, expensive to the extent that people will not buy. If you do that, you do it at your own expense, because the business that we are doing, we do it with facility. And if you go for a facility and then you come and sit beside your goods and you make your goods unattractive, you make your goods so expensive that people cannot buy, how then do you service your facility? So as far as I'm concerned, prices, have come down. Prices have come down, and so when you go to the market to buy, please don't limit yourself to one shop. Go to about 3-4 shops, ask prices, and definitely you'll get somewhere that the prices are moderate.
And what are your expectations? The president will be addressing the nation tomorrow. As a business community, what are your expectations?
Well, definitely coming from the business community, I have, or I would say, we have some expectations that we expect the president, to touch on. One has to do with the recent, sad situation that the country found itself as a result of some of the traders who lost their lives in Burkina Faso. As traders, we do cross-border trading, and it would have been better if we had, picked intelligence, because we all know that the situation in Burkina Faso is not the best. So therefore, we should be guided. We should be receiving intelligence, as to the cross-border trading that we've been doing. If something of that nature had happened, I don't think we would have found ourselves in that situation. So I expect, the president to touch on the security arrangement that they have put so far, to check future occurrences that we don't want, to have as far as cross-border trading is concerned. We are also looking at the rationalization of the duty regime. Currently, the duty regime that we have is not the best, irrespective of the fact that we have a stability of our cedi, and then duties are converted from dollars to cedis for us to pay. We cannot deny the fact that because of the stability that we have, there has been, some reduction as far as, duty issues are concerned. But we need a total overhaul of the duty regime that we have currently, because if you look at the bill of entry that we have, where the number of taxes and levies, are put on the BOE. Currently, we have almost about 20 levies and taxes that we are contend with before you can get your goods out. And I think it is not in the best interest of the business community. We need a total rationalization of the duty regime so that duties will be, affordable, for the business community to be able to pay, which will then culminate in the more reduction of prices that we all, envisage. Number 3, what I also expect from the president, has to do with the lending rates that we have currently. Irrespective of the fact that policy rates, keeps coming down, the banks, do not respond as far as lending rates are concerned. It's just recently that policy rate was reduced to 15.5%. That some of the banks, have responded by way of reducing their lending rates. But Ghana, as the second largest economy in the West Africa sub-region, I think we should, proceed to a situation where we should have lending rates in a single digit, because countries like Cote d'Ivoire and Senegal, that Ghana economy is bigger than them, have a single lending rate. So I expect that the president will touch on measures that they have put in place, or they will be putting in place, to address this situation, so that going forward, we should be achieving a single-digit lending rate. And finally, I also want to speak about recently, there have been complaints about the high running of electricity meters that we have. People have been complaining that when they buy units into these meters within the shortest possible time, they all run out, and then they have to go and make purchases again. Yesterday, I heard the Minister of Energy saying that he has put up a committee, to investigate. But we need more explanation on that, and I expect the president, to touch on it. And finally,
unfortunately, we have to let you go, Mr. Clement. I know you have a lot to touch on, but then we have to quickly bring in Haruna Mohammed, because we have to go. Haruna, your expectations tomorrow, as the president is set to bring that State of a Nation address as a party?
Thank you, Bosti. I would like to say good afternoon to my co-panelists and your entire followers. For me, we have continued to say that we don't have any hope in the current president of the Republic. He himself has said that he's not the hope of the people of Ghana. We are still in the state of hopelessness, and I don't expect anything better from the president. If for the president at all would want to speak the truth, he should be telling us why he looked into our face and lied to us that when he comes, utility tariffs will be stable or stay or no increase. And this is the fourth time we have increased our utility tariffs. He should tell us why teachers will work for more than a year and they would have to be paid for 3 or 1 month. He should tell us why doctors are still in arrears of over 11 months, which he has brought forward from his first term as president. All the things that was happening under his term in the first term of his government is what is coming back today. Things are skyrocketing. They are talking about dollar stability. This is a natural thing that even if the MPP was still in power, the measures were put in already for these things to come into being. When we talk about the 24-hour economy, everybody knows what they said. Straightly, they said 3 people doing the work of 1 person. It's not happening now. There is no strict law for this. What they have sent to Parliament does not even include what they were saying on the digital campaign system. The stability of the dollar has not changed the rate of rent in Ghana. It has increased. It has not changed the school fees in our public schools. Nothing has changed. Salaries of teachers are still very small. Public service workers are still small. Not enough is being done. Our roads are still the same. Cocoa farmers, their rate has been reduced. Instead of them having over 6,500, it has been reduced to 2,500. So these are the current hardships that we are talking about. Unemployment is still very high. People are not being recruited rather than people being retrenched and people sent home just because they don't belong to the NDC political party. So these are the very critical things that we should be looking at. The energy sector is still suffering. The financial sector is still suffering. That's why the artificial holding of this particular dollar, which has no any effect, any though, because if they say importers, things have been stabilized, things have been reduced, I go to still buy spare parts and what have you at the same price. If I want to buy an engine, I still go to buy at a higher price than that. So if they are doing this artificially and injecting some dollars to hold or liquidity to hold this particular rate, then we are deceiving ourselves. The president should come out from there because there will be a lot of shocks that will be coming. And these shocks, this artificial management system will not be able to hold the shocks that will be coming globally.
Arna Mohammed, we appreciate your time here on The Pulse. Away from that conversation, Ghana's cocoa sector is under severe strain. Failing production, liquidity pressures at cocoa board, farmer discontent over price cuts, smuggling concerns, and volatile global prices after last year's historic spike. At the center of Ghana's commercial response is the cocoa marketing company. Media liaison officer for the cocoa marketing company, Ambrose Amwa, spoke to my colleague Mamiesi Yamiche Thompson, and that's how we would be leaving you with that conversation here on The Pulse. Have a pleasant day as you enjoy this conversation.
If you want to move forward in respect of this, all that we have to say is that the cocoa marketing company has placed itself at the forefront of the reforms announced by government. And it is important because it comes in to alleviate the plight of the ordinary cocoa farmer and ensure that going forward into the future, we have a sanitized cocoa environment for everybody. The lead role is captured in 3 areas. And Dr. Wisdom Dogbe, who manages the cocoa marketing company, and the management team have never relented on their effort at ensuring that the reforms announced by government are properly carried through.
But the question is, when you say the sector is in crisis?
I am unable to say the sector is in crisis. Just like any institution or any outfit, there are ups and downs, and this could be one of the downs. But to say that the sector is in crisis is to point to the extreme, and I think that it doesn't.
Is that not the situation to warrant, the meetings of high stakeholders and also for the senior management cutting their salaries to keep it upstream, and now not even knowing how they're going to finance the sector?
If you smell a suboptimal performance, as we inherited as a government, naturally you will make moves to ensure that you correct things. And I am not too sure that that would necessarily connote a sector in crisis. It could be a sector on the mend, given the fact that reforms have been rolled out and announced to address the issues at hand. I think the greatest thing that should make us happy are the enduring measures that have been announced. I think that should give us some hope going forward.
All right. Well, farmers say that the prices they receive do not reflect production costs.
You see, you would give what you have. If you don't have, you can't give. Traditionally, farmers have gotten a share of the world market price. To the extent that the world market price is enough and big, naturally, farmers' share will be big. You get the point?
But then we've always had complaints from farmers who will even say that neighboring countries like Cote d'Ivoire has better prices, which has led to high smuggling from Ghana to Cote d'Ivoire. Because the market price is there, but the prices we give our farmers really isn't fair.
I am sure you are following the stories from La Cote d'Ivoire in recent times. They are thinking about reducing their farm gate prices.
Which is rare, because often their prices have been higher.
No, because you know very well that the world market prices have plummeted.
Which is understandable because of the current circumstances.
Yes, so obviously because of the situation, that is how it must be. That is why the reforms have been announced. My sister, you see, from the angle of the cocoa marketing company, if we lead effort to process 50% of our cocoa, if we make sure that the downstream manufacturing sector in respect of cocoa is buoyant enough to process our beans, we should not be thinking about falling prices on the world market, because then at the end of the day, we are able to generate enough revenues such that we can even think about the future of farmers. Because of the sliding nature of world market prices, the farmer will obviously be disadvantaged at a time when the price goes down. But as a nation, we have to take our destiny into our own hands. And so at the level of the cocoa marketing company, Dr. Dogbe and his team are saying that we will structure commercial sales to support local processing. My sister, that should be very fantastic. Because companies like CPC and others over the years have operated suboptimally. They have operated below the level they would have operated. Sometimes they don't even get the beans. We are taking the beans out to embrace lower prices when we could have processed here. So at the cocoa marketing company, this is what the team wants to do. That as government has announced this, it will take the stride and ensure that local processing companies can have their fair share of processing materials. Again, the cocoa marketing company wants to ensure that materials are consistent in terms of supply. It is very ironic that sometimes you have so much cocoa and yet we are exporting them when our local industries are starving. You got the point I'm trying to raise. So the hope and the succor comes in what government wants to do through agencies like Dr. Dogbe's Cocoa Marketing Company that wants to now process and support the stability of the local value chain. I think we should applaud that, don't you think so? It's a clear solution to one of the challenges we have at hand. And I am happy that the cocoa marketing company has taken the lead in doing that. It ensures a capacity utilization for our cocoa beans. We are doing 50% here. We are sending 50% outside. I think we will do ourselves a lot of good once we are doing this for local consumption amongst others. How would you respond
to critics who say that CMC mishandled forward sales and didn't really shield cocoa farmers when the prices surged?
I have a difficulty with that argument because a lot obviously went into that. How did we mishandle forward sales? You want to forward sell and take advantage of a higher price. But the one who wants to forward buy doesn't want to buy at a higher price. It's a mixture of what you want to get and what the buyer doesn't want. Who buys at a higher price? And so for the person who says that I wonder what the alternative would have been. Have they proposed any? Maybe we may want to hear. They have not. So it's a complete non-starter. And I assert strongly.
But before then,
I assert strongly, my sister.
Before the prices dropped.
Yes.
Before the prices dropped, wasn't that the case?
Oh, but the predecessor regime and its leadership had decided to forward sale at a rate of 2,600 per ton. Now, once you do that, you have supplied the beans and taken the money for that. The price goes to $12,000 per ton, $10,000, $7,200 per ton. And you are still supplying at 2,600 because you have been contracted to do that. So they did us in. They gave us a raw deal. The former leadership of Cocoa Board and the government gave us a raw deal. If they had not done that, you would have been able to take advantage of a higher price, isn't it? That's how come I cringe when they behave as though they come from a place of
So how did they do
antimonious stuff.
In which way?
I refuse to accept that. And so for us at the cocoa marketing company,
Right.
we are saying that we are diligent enough to offer the beans for sale, even in respect of areas of processing. And if even it has to go out, that we get the best for it.
Well, with this current price reduction, how is it affecting production currently? Are the farmers, motivated enough? Because I know that some of them are still up in arms with government for slashing down the price, and the fact that they are not even getting optimal services for their beans.
They know, the cocoa farmers know very well that it is not the doing of the government to quote and unquote wickedly slash prices so they go under or they suffer. My sister, the cocoa farmers understand the cocoa economics. They also understand the political economy of the cocoa industry. And that's how come when I began, I said government appreciates their support in these difficult times. And that government will continue to work with them to the extent that when conditions are good, they will be brought at par. This will never affect production because this is not the first time cocoa prices on the world market have tumbled. This can never be the first time. It's happened over the years. But the solutions are in the reforms I spoke about. So are you saying that because cocoa prices have tumbled, you should not produce or you should cut your cocoa trees? No, the cocoa trees are for eternity. Your kids come and succeed you when you go. So it may be a challenging time, but we know it is not a time so difficult as to demotivate farmers from producing.
Well, will you say that you've been accountable to these farmers?
The cocoa marketing company and government have been very accountable to these farmers, overly accountable to them.
They wouldn't have issues with you?
They have no issues at all. You see, if one or two farmers or a group of persons raise issues that are related to politics, I will give it to them. It is their right to do politics. But you have heard some cocoa farmers appreciate what the government has.
What I would like to understand really is this, that we are farmers, we have cocoa farmers. We're talking about farmers. When they're making complaints, why do you think it's supposed to be political?
Okay, so naturally you may not want to think like that. But when you have a situation, when a cocoa farmer says, oh, you were giving money to embark on this demonstration, then you are just right to say that this
on record.
Yes, on record. This is politically motivated. That somebody goes to the survey area and decides to gather cocoa farmers, give them stipends. Give them stipends.
Wait, let's establish this. You can prove that these cocoa farmers were given monies to demonstrate.
But this came from the horse's own mouth.
Who?
The videos are available. The cocoa farmers around Sefi.
Well,
I said they were giving money to do that.
Or heard that they were paid to demonstrate.
I will give you one immediately. We leave you. If you like, I can send one to you.
But that aside, you wouldn't get every cocoa farmer agreeing to government policy.
Oh, but I have made a point here. I mean, I have been unflinching in my belief that if a farmer says, I am not happy about this, it is their right. I am not too sure that we can classify all of them as politicians. That would be unfair. But the fact of the matter is that we know that there are underhand dealings to make some of these farmers behave as though government has done something so untoward. But the fact of the matter is that we have a situation and it is being resolved. Look, I have served as a DCE before for Upper Densha West. That's a typical cocoa growing area. And during my time, I saw what the John Mahama #1 administration did for farmers.
Right.
Okay, I mean the provision of fertilizer for free, the constant construction of their roads, and the provision of a lot of weedicides and others for free. You see, our cocoa farmers are not oblivious of the goodies they have enjoyed in the past. And so they understand our situation. But even before I continue, so I'm saying that once this happens and governments through the cocoa marketing company now says that we want to process more here, it brings some hope to our farmers because then the money remains here. I dovetail that into the reform to enter the bond market so that we don't rely on loans from outside and money from outside such that when they don't come, we don't have monies to buy. My sister, don't you think that it is more than apt that government now decides that we want to rope in resources through bonds within this country so that we can purchase cocoa beans? It is the best we can think of, and I am saying that the cocoa marketing company led by Dr. Dogbe and the team will spearhead that as government has said.
Well, we just to wrap up this conversation, we know that Cocoa Board management have slashed their salaries and doing other things to reform the sector. So what other things immediately are you taking on to ensure that everything is streamlined and things quickly go back to normal? Okay, so from the angle of the cocoa marketing company, one of the key planks of its work has to do with the provision of logistics to safeguard the sale of cocoa beans. You know, the cocoa marketing company is the commercial arm of Ghana Cocoa Board, wholly owned by Ghana Cocoa Board. Yes. Without it, there's a difficulty in selling our beans. Now, we are saying that for all of our 3 centers in Tema, Takoradi, and Kumasi, we are embarking on a 24-hour economy type of activity. So we ensure a complete turnaround of cocoa storage and all of that, so that we have cocoa readily available for the international market and for the local market. Because we believe that once we are able to do that, we should be able to get money for our farmers. I am sure you have heard that sometimes cocoa farmers complain that, oh, our beans are not being bought. We are not getting people to buy our beans. Right, even though it's one of the best beans in the world. Even though it is one of the best beans in the world. But at the same time, realize that we could have processed them here, even at CPC. And here they are sitting somewhere. Cocoa marketing company is saying that, no, in line with government announced reforms, we want to process these beans here. But we are doing that 24 hours. Right. So clear leadership, clear movement. Clarity. In terms of what we want to know. How much percentage are we producing here? How much are we? We are doing 50% here. Production here. Yes, to ensure that the downstream manufacturing sector is buoyant and robust in all forms. Right. And then I'd like to know from you the issue about the jute sacks. Yes. That's the port. What was the status of the investigation? Investigations are still ongoing. I am not in a hurry to preempt the outcome of the investigation. But I'm saying that to the extent that the investigation will reveal issues, what do you know government will take appropriate action. Those jute sacks being imported and it's being stuck at the ports? I think that the decision by the SOR management was not appropriate. Okay, the farmers use the jute sacks as and when we need them. But you have a measurement to ensure that you are buying in the right quantities and at the appropriate times. The argument that the jute sacks and the materials that are used for them may not be readily available, and so as we get them, we should prepare them, is an argument that cannot stand on all fours. I think somebody decided to throw the taxpayers' money along the line, and that efforts must be made to investigate it. I trust this John Mahama government that in the ensuing periods, efforts will be made to ensure that those who didn't think rightly, quote and unquote, are brought to book and that the taxpayers' money is recovered.